This presentation will bring you through all of the expectations for the final assignment, which does have two options. The first option is to create a 10-question questionnaire and interview two families from different social and economic backgrounds, which is why starting the project early in the semester is really helpful because it gives you time to make contact and arrange a time to talk that works for both of you. Be sure that you're only speaking to the adults and that you're already familiar with them and have a comfort level. If you don't have a family that you can contact, I can definitely try to make some connections for you if you let me know as soon as possible. Just make sure that all of the information that you're gathering is coming from the adults and their perspective, and that you use the same 10 questions for both families. So after you complete that part of the project, you will write a descriptive analysis for both families, which will be thorough and explain their background both socially and economically. It should include the ages and schooling level of the children, and it should connect to what we've learned so far in this course. Make sure that you include the questions and any notes, and all 10 questions and their responses should be reported. Make sure you analyze them and connect them to research in order to earn exemplary on the rubric, which will be explained at the end of this presentation. You are going to need to ask the families about their views concerning children. I suggest that you jot down questions as we go through the course material and potentially include questions about their children's school experience related to diversity and how the parents' background impacts how they raise their children. You should also make sure that you compare their responses and discover how similar and different they are. Your paper should include an analysis of each family and their responses and conclude with the similarities and differences you found between both. If you would rather do option B, you would write a paper describing 10 multicultural activities or projects that you would include in your classroom. You need to include at least one activity for young English language learners and at least one activity that would integrate a family activity into your classroom. In your paper, you would need to describe each multicultural activity or project, and each activity or project should have a statement regarding why you think it is important and should also cite course materials or other supplemental research that you found that backs up the importance that you stated. You should include why you selected the 10 multicultural activities or projects, and again, you should connect that to research as well as your own experience. And finally, you should explain how they would be implemented. Like, how would the students participate, what would they do, and how could the activities be helpful in classrooms? I suggest that you choose an option and plan your project early. That way, if you don't like the option you chose, you can still have time to switch to the other option. You can also use the tutor.com feature or other tutoring resources throughout the college. I also suggest that you review the expectations in this presentation and the rubric often as you're doing the project, so you make sure you're on the right track, and make sure you ask me questions as they arise. So according to the final presentation page on Canvas, this assignment should be approximately 2 pages or 500 to 700 words. It should follow APA format and make connection with your research throughout. And you should review back to those same written assignment guidelines that you have or that you will use throughout the course in order to ensure earning full points. As you're going through your project, you should refer often to the rubric, which I'll go through now just through the exemplary sections. So the first section on the rubric asks you to complete 10 items with substantial and rich content and information. You should make sure that you have a thesis that sparks the interest of the reader and tells why it's important that you're doing this assignment. How is it relevant to students in an early childhood classroom? The second section of the rubric asks you to analyze aspects of multiculturalism regarding diversity in education meaning that whether you chose option A and you're explaining questions or option B and you're explaining activities, you should make sure that you connect each question or activity to the course and different research or readings that we've looked through, or your own research that we've looked through. The next section is critical thinking and analytical skills, which requires you to have insightful and thorough analysis of all of the issues you've identified throughout your project. You should make sure you use your own analysis in addition to the research, and wherever research is cited, you should make sure that you expand upon it and analyze it to make sure it's relevant to your project. In order to earn full credit based on your research, you should make sure that you have 3 or more sources and that they're cited correctly. You can refer to the APA guidelines that I've posted on Canvas, and I've also found that Google Docs has a nice example format that you can use that might be helpful as well. And then finally on the rubric, it asks you to check your work for quality and organization. So make sure that it's well organized with paragraphs that have topic and concluding sentences so that each paragraph transitions well into the next. Be sure the whole paper is in APA format, and you can follow that link that's on Canvas. And make sure that it is really just a well-written piece of work by the time you're done. If you have any questions, please let me know.